Well, if you're in a car accident, that's not your fault, but the other driver does not have insurance, what's going to happen?
Here with some answers, personal injury attorney Kristen Scheuerman, who is also a partner at Herrling Law Firm. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So if you're in an auto accident and the other driver does not have insurance, what should we do?
Well, there's lots of situations where the driver that caused the accident may have no insurance or not enough insurance. Don't panic. Reaching out to someone, usually a lawyer or your agent, to talk about what type of coverage you might have is where you want to start. So just because the other driver isn't insured doesn't mean you're out of luck. In Wisconsin, uninsured motorist coverage, so coverage that you would have on your own auto, could kick in a situation like that then to cover your losses.
What about medical bills? Who's responsible for those?
It depends. Ultimately, the driver who caused the accident should be responsible for everything. Now, if there's no insurance, that could be your own insurance company if it becomes an uninsured motorist claim. But a lot of times, personal injury cases can take a while to resolve. So there's coverage that will kick in the meantime. Health insurance is one. Just because you're in an accident doesn't mean you can't use your own health insurance. And another coverage that I wish more people knew about is called medical payments coverage. That's a coverage that you take out on your own insurance policy, but it's a limited amount of money that's specifically designed to cover medical expenses, regardless of fault. So that could be available to you as well.
And is there a limit when it comes to the med pay?
Usually. The limits that I see the most are $1,000 or $10,000. I'm certainly not an insurance agent, but given what I do for a living, I always advise people have as much coverage as you can. It's incredible how quickly that goes, and the cost for this type of insurance is so low, but it can really be a lifesaver if you're in an accident because it bridges the gap between the now and the resolution, which can save people a lot of stress.
Sure.
What if the other driver has insurance but not enough, speaking of underinsured, to cover what happens?
Then we hope that you've elected your own underinsured motorist coverage. I say recent, it's probably been a decade now, but the law changed in Wisconsin about 10 years ago. Underinsured motorist coverage is no longer a required coverage, so it's something you may have, but you may not. And the law also changed. It's not very favorable to people who are injured any longer, but if you have underinsured motorist coverage, you may not have it because they compare the limits of your coverage to the limit the other driver has, and if those are the same, you don't actually have coverage. So it can be very complicated. I'm also shaking my head, Melanie. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, wait, I gotta go check my policy.
Yes.
Exactly.
So again, more coverage is better. But when you start to have questions like that, what's covered, what's not, do I have enough coverage? Talking with a lawyer can just help make sense of where we're even looking to resolve claims because it can certainly become complicated.
I was going to ask why it's important to cover or hire someone that has your kind of background when it comes to these cases.
Well, I think a lot of times, even in modest claims, you may not know where to even begin making the claim. And I think a lot of times if there's not insurance or there's not enough insurance, understandably, people assume they're just sort of stuck. And there may be options. There may be other sources of coverage. And when someone's hurt, the goal is to try to make them whole again as best we can. And looking for those sources of coverage can sometimes be the way we do that.
Sure.
And briefly, it's important to you to meet people where they're at, and that's why you have so many locations. Walk us through where and how we can meet with you.
We have a lot of locations. We are in Appleton, Oshkosh, Green Bay, and Wapaka. And to your point, when things like this happen, it's just really upsetting, and it is important for us to find people where they are in their hometown in a comfortable spot, and we will meet with clients in any of those offices or their home, depending on the level of their injury.
Sure. All right. Well, again, you'll find those offices, Appleton, Green Bay, Oshkosh, and Wapaka. You can reach Herrling Clark at 920-739-7366.
You can also check out all of their services and their fantastic team at herlingclark.com.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks for having me.